The first psychic episode for Dawn Brighton took place in 1980 in an old house in New Zealand, where 5-year-old Dawn first experienced seeing a ghost in the bedroom of their house. Dawn shared the bedroom with a 15-year-old sister, where one night she was awoken to see the ghostly figure of a man standing in the doorway of their bedroom. The man was dressed in an army uniform and wearing a metal helmet. Her sister also witnessed the apparition, and when they turned on the bedside light, the figure abruptly vanished. Needless to say, the young girls were terrified and spent the rest of the night in their parents' bed. Dawn never forgot the frightening image of the ghost in the doorway, and when she was older decided to do some research on the house. She discovered that the house had once been used as a hospital for injured soldiers during World War II. Strangely, she never saw the ghostly figure again, but it would not be the last time she would be visited by an apparition. In 1993, when Dawn was 18 years old, she and her boyfriend moved into an old house in Blenheim on the South Island of New Zealand. The house was rented and had been divided into 2 flats. Dawn and her boyfriend Martin rented the original main bedroom, lounge, kitchen and entrance hall. Their laundry and bathroom were recent additions. The other half of the house was the original bathroom and 2 bedrooms, where a new kitchen had been built along with a converted lounge. The neighbours were a young couple with a baby, and they had very serious marital problems where doors were regularly slammed along with banging and thumping noises. They had only been in the house a couple of months when Dawn began to feel the presence of a ghost. One night she was laying in bed with her eyes closed when she could feel the presence of a ghost. She became frightened and quickly woke her boyfriend, but he could neither feel or sense anything. The following evening, she again felt the presence of his spirit and could sense it as it went through the house. Strangely, in her mind, as she was laying down with her eyes closed, she could always tell where it was in the house. This ritual continued for many nights, where she would wake up and feel the ghost entering the house. Eventually, she sensed that it was an older female who appeared in white, who would pass through the front door and go into the kitchen before passing through the wall and into the lounge of the other half of the house, and then entered into one of the bedrooms. It would then go back into the lounge before exiting out the side door of the neighbour's flat. This would regularly take place every night and would last about 5 minutes. Occasionally, the spirit would enter other rooms of the house and stay there for a short while, but for some strange reason, never entered the newer, converted side of the house where Dawn and her boyfriend resided. Dawn can sense and feel this every night, yet her partner never felt or sensed anything. But later on, things will take an eerie turn, when one night, as Dawn woke up feeling extremely pensive and frightened, the spirit had decided to enter their bedroom. It came through the closed door and headed to the window before proceeding to the end of the bed and looked down at her. She then slowly made her way to her side of the bed and sat down on the bed. Dawn was now terrified and tried to scream, but nothing came out of her mouth. Her partner was oblivious to what was happening. Although Dawn was terrified, she had the feeling that the spirit on the bed was not there to harm her in any way and appeared to be extremely sad. Then pictures started to appear in Dawn's mind and figured the ghost was trying to show her something and decided to let her guard down and open up her mind more. The images of 2 framed pictures appeared showing the same man. One of the pictures was of a young man in his 20s wearing old leather pilot's headgear with goggles on the top of his head. The other picture was of the same man wearing a military uniform. Dawn had the distinct impression that the man was the woman's son, and she was very sad. She thought that her son was lost and never returned from the war. Then another scene appeared in her mind that was like watching a movie inside her head. The image was of the lady sitting on the bed, and she was being chased by a man. She was being chased in the house they were now in, but it looked like it did before it separated into 2 flats. She was then chased outside, but that too looked very different. The outside was surrounded by paddocks where houses now stood. She could only watch in her mind as the woman is chased into one of the paddocks before falling over, where a pursuer then caught her. She could see that the man had an axe before the vision abruptly ended, and she sensed that the woman was still beside her on the bed. All of a sudden, the most terrifying thing happened, where the woman lay down beside her and moved across and had now taken over her body. Dawn then tingled and buzzed all over. She was now paralyzed with fear and couldn't move, and in her mind was screaming, "No, no, no," while her partner slept quietly next to her, unaware of the horror that was taking place. Then her leg straightened and was able to move by itself. She begged the lady to leave her alone and told her she was very scared. After about 2 minutes, the sensation stopped, whereupon the woman got up and left the room and vanished. Was she trying to show her more horrific images, or was she trying to possess her? She quickly woke her partner and told him what had happened. Although he comforted her, she feels he never believed what she had experienced. After the terrible ordeal, Dawn and her partner did not initially move out, and for the next 8 months the woman would regularly enter their bedroom but never contacted her again. The woman continued to wander around the house in a sad state, where Dawn and her boyfriend had finally had enough and decided to move out. Did the woman's presence also affect the young neighbours, causing them to constantly argue? There seems no doubt that up to that point in her life, Dawn was unaware that she was sensitive to the paranormal, but later in her life she went on to develop her mediumship abilities.